friends. For the final time in 2015, we meet to spoil. And today, on its Spoilerin Time, I apologize. We will not be spoiling the final episode of Fargo Season 2. That will happen at some point in the future. Instead, we bring you this special edition of Spoilerin Time, freaking Star Wars The Force Awakens, Brian Brushwood.
Yeah, heck yeah. But of course, real quick, we should go ahead and peek in and see what Star Wars means for the Winter Movie Draft.
Let's see. Okay, I'm looking at this analysis. It's pretty deep. It says you're going to win.
I don't believe it. The only way that's a slam dunk is if you do less than $100 million in the remainder of your run, Tom. I think you're going to get up above $560 million, which means, again, and we've talked about this before, the only way I win is if Star Wars is the highest grossing domestic box office movie of all time, and if it does it by February 12th, which is a tall order. However, having said that, things look better than they ever have with an opening of, how much was it on Thursday? 40-something?
57 million just for Thursday evening.
Okay. Now, granted,
we're looking at more than 100 million for opening day, which is Thursday and Friday. Probably well above 200 million for the weekend.
Did you guys hear? Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead. By the way, that's of course Jeff Cannata. We have an all-star, star-studded cast, and talk us through it, bud.
I didn't know if I was allowed to talk right now, but I wanted to add something. Did you guys hear that Fandango announced that more tickets had been sold for Star Wars: The Force Awakens on Fandango than any movie in the entire run of any movie? So there is no movie that they have sold tickets for an entire run of that movie that they have sold more tickets than Star Wars already.
I mean, if you're going to have a movie that an online ticket reseller is going to do well with, it seems like the Venn diagram of people who like Star Wars a lot and people who would buy online tickets, it's just one circle, right? It's the exact same set of people.
Well, we are here to talk about Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and so let's start by interviewing the rest of our panel, or introducing the rest of our panel with their impression of whether Brian is nuts to think he has any chance of not winning the summer movie draft. Of course, Jeff Cannata, you heard on the phone right there, actually driving to his parents' house for the holidays, but still could not stay away from this. Thank you so much for joining us, Jeff.
I didn't want to miss this one, guys. This doesn't come around but once a decade, or from now on every year.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird?
Representing the folks in other lands who are able to watch this movie on Wednesday, Jaime Ruiz-Avila is joining us with Kylo Ren glasses, might I add.
Hey, guys. I don't know what the big fuss is about. Don't you all watch it 2 days early?
No, all right. Get out of here.
Yeah. Why don't you just leave? Oh, you're already in another country. Kristi Kates is also with us, regular contributor to Cordkillers, KristiKates.com, and has the BB-8 glasses on.
They're the only light side glasses. Everyone else was the dark side.
It's the only one you need, man.
This doesn't work.
Yeah. My wife chose the Kylo Ren glasses. Captain Phasma glasses weren't bad either. The others were just Stormtrooper. Owen JJ Stone, Docta, is with us as well. Did you choose glasses?
I chose not 3D because I like myself.
Yeah, dude. I'm with you. Team not 3D for the win.
And finally, the man who actually, he and Jeff Cannata saw it earlier than even Jaime, because you did a kick-ass job on that red carpet interview with everybody from Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Mr. Anthony Carboni.
Yeah, applause.
Kylo Ren is Ben Solo. Oh, God, it felt so good to say that. Oh, God. Have you guys wanted to say that out loud as much as I've been wanting to say it in a room?
It feels pretty good. I haven't been holding it in.
So good to say it.
His name's Ben.
I don't think
thought
that's
it was
the biggest
Sven.
spoiler.
Sven Solo. The whole thing is a spoiler. That's the
But
point.
that's not the biggest spoiler. There's a bigger spoiler than that.
All right, why don't we do like a weird kind of backwards inverse funnel here? Let's talk about spoilers first, because this has been a very different movie from the prequels. The prequels, of course, everyone was giddy to read about ahead of time, and then you went and watched the movie, and the movie was just fulfillment on the promises you were given. This time you kind of had a split in camps where there were some fans that just wanted to read everything in advance, and you were able to do it. And by and large, those fans were respectful of other fans who were into the idea of going in and being surprised. And then separate from all that, you had a splinter troll rebellion where it's like they derived great pleasure from running around plastering spoilers in inappropriate areas. Was anybody here stricken by the spoiler trolls?
I was actually shocked to find out how little there was. I was waiting for Twitter to kind of blow up with people just dumping things, and I didn't actually see anything. And I know, Brian, I said you were staying like offline for the duration, but
I said that, and I thought I was very clever. I was like, well, I can scan and only read the first couple of words, and to know which tweets to avoid. But somebody sent an image of Kylo Ren stabbing Han Solo.
You went on Twitter?
Yeah.
You're a rookie.
No,
Twitter's 140 characters, bro.
That's on me.
They at-replied you that?
What's that?
They at-replied you with that, or what do you mean?
They did. I said, hey, people are apparently making a game of throwing spoilers at people's faces. So
they
see
search
you
for
see
people
one
who talk about Star Wars on Twitter, and
and then just reply with that image.
You saw that before you saw the movie, Brian?
I did.
Oh, that's
although. Let me say this, and now we're gonna this will dip a little bit into review territory. That is the obvious spoiler, so obvious that I would have placed a bet if beforehand. I would have said, "Well, Han Solo is definitely going to die because Harrison Ford has wanted to kill this character for 30 years." Second of all, if he's going to die at the hands of anyone, it's going to be the big bad guy. So it's like. It was kind of, if you're gonna throw a spoiler in my face, it was the perfect one because the real spoiler, the thing that actually would have taken joy away from me, was the awesome sleight of hand that they pulled off in making us think that Finn was the incoming Jedi hero.
Yes,
that was
the best. That was the best thing that they pulled throughout this whole. Even in Act 1 of this movie, you still believe that.
Absolutely.
They did such a great job with all of that.
See, now I got spoiled on that because I saw that stupid picture of a toy that got accidentally shelved with Rey holding a lightsaber.
No.
And as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, she's the Jedi," and they're showing us Finn because they want to dupe us. So I didn't get that reveal. But the reveal of Kylo Ren being
Jedi
Han's
starts out on a
son
desert planet.
Still hits.
She started off on a desert planet. She's the Jedi. Like, she's there. I don't know. Okay.
But they let you. But that's the thing is the way they start off Finn's story is they really make you believe in Act 1 of this movie that they are flipping all of the tropes that you know on their head. You know what I mean? Like the moment this movie opens with a stormtrooper acting like a human being on the battlefield.
Yes.
You know what I mean? A stormtrooper actually reacting like a human being in the middle of a battle. You're like, oh, there is definitely something special about this guy.
Yes. Okay. So let's do real quick capsule reviews with everyone. Anthony, why don't you start us off here? What were your initial thoughts?
I loved it. I think they did such a wonderful job. I genuinely believe that they exceeded any expectations that I could have had. They really tilted a lot of things that I thought I saw coming on their head. They kept me guessing a little bit. They really did a great job of something that JJ did a decent job of with the first Star Trek movie, which is kind of laying the old characters and the old continuity to rest in a way that makes everybody happy while really highlighting these new characters and making the new characters much more interesting in a lot of ways.
Notice how Anthony is on a first-name basis with the director.
I thought they did an amazing thing. I thought the only thing that I had an issue with, and this is something Jeff and I talked about after seeing it, was there were a little too many Clash of the Titans remake pulling Bubo out of the box moments. You know, just these little visual like, hey, remember the training droid? Remember hologram chess? Remember this? Remember that? And it's like, yeah, dude, I remember it. Keep going. Keep going. This is new shit. Let's go. But I think other than that, I loved every moment of it.
Kristi, what about you?
I agree with him for the most part, but I think a lot of the little things they threw in there as nods to prior movies, I think that really helped the transition. And overall, the whole thing, I was so impressed by the balance of old and new. And to me, it just the biggest thing is it felt like Star Wars. My problem with the prequels was they never felt like Star Wars. They just kind of felt like someone was trying to make Star Wars. It didn't quite work. There were all the few moments that you had that were good and impressive and like hit you right in the heart. There were too few of those in the prequels. And with this, I felt like the whole thing from the beginning, I believed in those characters. The dust on everything was real. The scene wipes, fell in with the whole mythology of the stories. And yeah, I loved it. I really did. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, the prequels had this feeling of almost like they were joyless in a way that this movie was not.
Oh yeah,
this movie felt like people having a good time.
It was delightful. It did what they set out to do.
And how human was it? Like the initial interactions, like even even that moment where Kylo Ren's about to start torturing the pilot, and he's like, "Do you start? Do I start? Which one? How does this work?" I mean, it was
that was Poe Dameron.
Yeah, Poe Dameron, amazing. Doctor, what about you? What did you think?
I am probably the only person here that thought it was adequate. It was good. I didn't think it was great. I mean, you want to check off a round ball we need to blow up? Check. You want to throw off killing somebody's father? Check. You want to, kill but not kill the Sith Lord and have him turn into a half robot because you cut off his leg? Check. Finn had me going when he had the lightsaber and he went against the hammer guy. I'm thinking, he's a trooper. He was trained too. I get it. And he had to get saved by Han Solo. But then I'm thinking, he's a garbage man, but you're a garbage man, but you got to hang with him. And then you could hang and even cut a Sith Lord. Granted, he was shot by the bow cannon, which is obviously blowing everybody out the water. But he sat there like a champ and was taking it, and you got to cut him. You got to dance with this man for 45 seconds. I'm sorry, and I'm just saying, like, if I wanted to see episode 4, 5, and 6, I'd have saw 4, 5, and 6. It felt good. There was comedy. There was right BB-8, and he flicked out his little lighter finger, and I was happy. But my daughter called the fact that as soon as she found out that was Han Solo's son, she said, "Dad, he's going to kill him, right?" And I'm like, I don't know. And then sure enough, 10 hours later, she says, "See, I told you so." And she knew from the jump, as soon as that girl was in the desert, that she was the Jedi. Because she said, "Dad, all the Jedis come from the desert." And I'm like, y'all are sitting here telling me stuff that an 8-year-old is going to pick it out of the movie in the beginning of the movie. So I'm just saying, it was a great movie. It made me feel good, but it was not great. And Lord help me, something second better becoming better. Because I waited 30 years to watch the same movie that I got on DVD, and we done watched 18, 20 times.
Now, hold on a second. Hold on just a cotton-picking moment, my friend. This is crazy. I'm going to tell you this. Yes, there were a lot of things that we saw coming. There were a lot of things that... there were a lot of things that we saw coming. There were a lot because it was mirroring the original trilogy. But there were things that it did with those old things in a new way.
And that's what makes it good, not great. Not, oh my God, my mind is blown.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think here's the other thing. With regards to Finn and Finn holding his own and Finn being a garbage man, I think there's more to Finn than we know about. And I do think that there's going to be more to Finn in 8. I would be shocked if Finn was just garbage man stormtrooper.
No, but I'm saying at some point he had to be trained to be a trooper because obviously he got transferred out of the trash and got sent on his first mission. So I assume he had some training. But when they're standing there and he's about to go into that room and he looks back and he's like, "I'm a garbage man," I'm like, well, hold on a second, bro. Maybe that's why you got shaky, but then how'd you fend off dude? And I know you love this girl, but you really going to fight off a Sith Lord? Like, really?
Mm-hmm. Wait, he was asked,
it's just
what did
little
you
things
do
like that. And I'm like, come on. Like,
what did you do when you were based here? And he said sanitation. So maybe he rose up out of that at some point.
Yeah,
I assume he did
and also
on a mission. That was his first mission.
By the way, this is one of the things I really dug about our main antagonist is that Kylo Ren. He's not a Sith Lord. He's a child. He's a petulant teenager. I love the fact that they mirrored that moment with Darth Vader, where the guy apologizes for stuff going sideways, and instead of killing him, he throws a hissy fit like an emo teen. And I adored that because it said this is he clearly is not a made man yet. He clearly has not ascended through the ranks of the dark side or whatever. It's like, and as a result, I believed it when Finn held his own for a few seconds.
Flawed, yes. Crazy, out of control, yes. But I also remember the dude stopping a blaster being like, pause. And I do remember the dude like like his force was forceful, and that made me believe that her raw force was so powerful because she was having the light side, and when she calmed herself, that's more powerful than the hatred. I get that part, but a Sith Lord against a garbage man trooper on a first mission who couldn't even shoot anybody, I'm just saying pump the brakes with the storytelling a little bit because it's a little bit jaded. I love the movie. I was happy to see it. I'm going to go see it 3 more times because people already got tickets for me. I'm going to do that. But I'm just saying, when people come out here telling me, oh, the sun came up, I'm like, the sun went down, brother. We got a little bit of light, but I'm waiting for the next one to come around.
But that's all we needed it to do, right? We needed it not to suck. That's
yes, and that's what I told people. Yes.
Well, let's get Jaime. Let's get Jaime's review now.
It did that. However, it also did something very interesting. I just recently listened to Star Wars: Conquer the Universe, and there's constant allusions to Lucas wanting to see like a Flash Gordon experience, like a Flash Gordon serial. And this delivered that big time. It was a gigantic, popcorn movie. It's the kind of thing you want to go and see on a Saturday afternoon. I enjoyed it at that level a lot.
Sorry, go ahead. I apologize.
No, I do think that there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. What is there's no rebellion, and they mentioned the
resistance,
Republic fleet, but what is this? Resistance to what? Is
to the First Order?
The First Order conquering the universe?
Dude, how great was it that I don't care? It's like you don't have to explain to me what trade dispute created this moment. It's like, no, it's like you got the bad guys and the good guys. Go, and I was all in on that.
Yeah.
Did you?
And I think that they did. I think that they did do a good thing with like, okay, we saw Kylo coming, we saw the death of Han Solo coming. But because we just kind of love Han Solo so much, and because we kind of wanted Kylo, like Kylo did have this moment of like, okay, maybe it's going to happen. Like, we knew it was happening, and they played that. Like, they played our emotions with that so well, where there was just that brief moment where they're both holding the saber, and you're like, but maybe it doesn't have to happen that way. But maybe Han Solo can just be around for another couple movies, and Kylo can be cool, and everything's going to be okay, but it can't, right? Like, it can't. I'm a grown-up. It's fine. I get it.
That the other thing, a little nugget that I thought in my mind. What's the Sith Lord, his bastard's name? What's his name?
Snoke.
So in my mind, I think Snoke is like the dude from the Wizard of Oz. I think he's a little midget like Yoda, and he projects himself to be this large figure. I feel like when they go see him, he's going to be like this little 2-foot dude sitting on a chair with all this power, but just miniaturized.
Hey,
he's so larger than life sitting in that chair. I'm like, there's nobody in that universe that's really that big. So I assume it's like an ego thing. Like he's projecting himself so big because he's really so small. That's just my nugget information.
I totally believe that.
Just remember
and of course, if they do that, they'll immediately follow it up with some kind of cruel murder or something. Which, by the way, is this the first Star Wars movie that we've seen blood in? Like that opening scene with the stormtrooper.
New Hope has bloody arm in Mos Eisley.
Okay, all right. So the first time since the original that I loved the humanizing elements of the stormtroopers. I thought that was wonderful.
Jeff and I had a little bit of an argument about the blood mark. Not an argument, just sort of like a blood mark. The blood mark on Finn's helmet in the beginning to sort of differentiate himself visually,
right?
But also to show he was marked. There was something special about him.
It was the Clone Wars too.
Yeah, it was a little on the
Clone
nose.
Wars, they did that.
Yeah,
like the one guy. I remember the one guy had his partner's blood on him, and he never washed his helmet because he's like, that was my guy. Mm-hmm. So he always had that blood mark right across his face.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
The thing with Finn though is like I feel like Star Wars historically has done this kind of evolution with the storytelling in which they start out and they show you a character and maybe they drop a few things immediately, but they don't necessarily expose everything right away. And I think with Finn, Finn's whole first movie is setting up for what Finn's going to become. I don't necessarily think, he's just a garbage man and that's it. And how he's treating things. I think they're like, it's part of the grand plan for him.
He could grow up to be the best guy in the world. I'm just saying, when you're going to fight a Sith Lord and you tell me you took out trash and you couldn't even shoot somebody in a village and you went and jumped ship I'm just saying, you ain't a bad ninja. Like, you just jump out to be a bad ninja. You cowered at every turn, except for those few moments for her.
I didn't.
Which again makes me like him even more because he fought for that woman. They had great chemistry. I'm not saying I'm not. It's so hard for me because I'm not even saying I don't love the movie. I'm just saying I'm trying to be realistic about. I'm not jumping off this bridge for
sure.
But avoiding fighting doesn't make you a bad fighter. It makes you somebody who's avoiding fighting.
Coward.
So I didn't think it during the movie. I never thought this, but it's only now that I'm realizing how many situations. I guess is it just me, or do they portray Finn as a lovable idiot? Like he's really dumb.
No, what they do is they flip on its head the idea of the damsel in distress. Finn thinks he's saving people at every turn, and he is often the damsel in distress.
Yes.
And I think that's what's so brilliant is, that wonderful moment where he gets the crap knocked out of him and he wakes up and he looks at Rey and he goes, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "Yeah." I'm saving you, buddy. He keeps grabbing her hand.
Stop grabbing my hand every time we run. I can run on my own. I don't need you pulling me along the run.
Exactly.
My favorite Finn moment was when he got back to his captain, and she's like, "You really think you're going to get away with this?" He's like, "I'm in control now. You're not in control. You don't know control. I'm in control." And Han's like, "Pump the brakes, kid."
Yeah.
When he breaks out Poe Dameron, which is basically the mirror to breaking out Princess Leia, he goes, "Yeah, I'm here to save you," and Poe goes, "You need a pilot, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I need a pilot." Like he can't break himself out, and I think that's what's the wonderful flip on its head idea of that character.
I didn't think of him as dumb, just maybe a little naive and inexperienced. And so trying to overcompensate by pretending like he pretends he's part of the resistance, he pretends to be able to do things that he can't.
Is this the funniest Star Wars episode we've ever gotten?
Hands down.
Yeah,
hands down.
Second place goes to Empire, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think the funniest moment in the entire first trilogy is A New Hope when he's like, "Sorry, nobody in here." I didn't like that conversation anyway. There's
How are you?
great moments in
And C-3PO for me, honestly, just saying the dumbest things at the dumbest moments, like it just cracked me up. Every time I see C-3PO, I'm like, "Why are you talking?" He's just that guy like me right now that just never shuts up and comes in and makes everything awkward. And you're like, "Bro, we're trying." All right, okay.
Yeah,
so, but his whole
is also a human cyborg
on the fact that he is a relations droid too. Like he's a diplomatic talking droid. That's the goddamn thing he's supposed to be able to do. Like I love that. But I think this had some of the funniest moments. Like for me, the funniest stuff in all of Star Wars is crazy loner. I haven't spoken to anybody in 100 years. Yoda. Like when you first meet Yoda and he's just batshit crazy from being alone.
Yes.
So much stuff in this movie made me laugh just as much as that stuff. And that's the thing too. I think we're a little jaded because we're older. Because like my daughter, like when she watches the first, she laughs so hard, and I'm like, I can't really laugh because I already know the joke's coming. So when you get new jokes and you laugh, you think this is the funniest one. Whereas opposed to you're not really seeing it through new eyes and you've been watching it for 20 plus years. So you also got to take that in a grain of salt in your thought process of comedy. I mean, not that it wasn't funny. Like I said, when he says BB-8, help me out here, and he tells her the location and he's thumbs up and he throws out the little lighter finger. I was like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? That was R2-D2. Like that made me happy. So
yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons why it does come off as the funniest is it's not just that we've seen all those jokes from the old movies 100 times before. It's because of something that's like a much larger thumbs up that this movie has, which is the pacing of this movie. This is the best paced Star Wars movie that has ever been made.
Yeah, I agree with that. What do you think in terms of we oftentimes will rank all the Star Wars movies, but recently we got into a discussion where it's like rank the Star Wars movies based on the strength of their first act. And I would say this is easily second only to Empire, the best first act we've gotten. And now Empire, keep in mind, the first act is an entire movie in and of itself. You got human drama, you got people who are lost and found, whether or not you're going to escape and all that stuff. I think this is almost as good.
Well, it's hard to rank this one higher than A New Hope just because it is the same first act.
Thank you.
I mean, it's exactly the same first act as A New Hope, which some people criticize, but I don't think
It requires knowledge of the first movie to be as powerful, or the first trilogy to be as powerful a first act as it is, which is the only reason I think you have to rate it lower.
Justin, to pinch Justin's take on this, he said, I don't know, the whole A New Hope first act is mostly walking in the desert and circle wipes. Like that's pretty much all we get there.
Yes.
I mean, so I've seen the movie twice now, and I liked it more the second time. I liked it a hell of a lot the first time, but it even grew in my estimation the second time. But I also noticed the structural similarities to A New Hope even more the second time. And I mean, it really is almost, that first act really is a 1-to-1. I mean, you have Vader arriving on the Corellian spacecraft and killing a whole bunch of people and capturing somebody who then has to put the little thing into a droid and send it off to hopefully somebody will find it. I mean, it's exactly the same beats, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Tell the story.
Yeah, only
story.
faster. Only so much faster.
Yeah,
thank
like
God.
I said, he took 4, 5, and 6 and put it in one movie.
I don't
Check
know
all
about
the
that.
boxes.
Because
We should
the
get
thing
a
that it
remake
does right-
of all the
the
movies.
thing that
It
it
should have
does-
been a remake and start over again like Star Trek. Like,
Well,
give
sure,
me
but
that.
I think the reason for that is like this is as much as it's a movie for us, and as much as it's a movie for Star Wars fans. You know who's gonna love this movie is my wife, who can't sit through the old Star Wars movies because pop culture has ruined them for her, or for people who have never seen a Star Wars movie. This is a great send-off for people like us of the old characters, and it mirrors a lot of things that we saw. But what's brilliant about it is I'm going to bring my wife in, and she is going to love this movie from start to finish.
Those
Yeah,
six
my
people
wife would
aren't
love
watching
it.
Star Wars.
Yeah, they are. This is going to be the biggest movie in like a billion years.
And all those
Everybody's
people,
gonna watch it.
All the people, Star Wars people. I talk to people like at my daughter's karate. The husband and wife to own it go to see every movie, and I'm like, oh, you guys excited for Star Wars? And they're like, we're not Star Wars people. And I'm like, whoa. It doesn't even matter if you're not Star Wars people. You're movie people. You see garbage movies all the time. How can you not see Star Wars? And he's like, I'm just not into space stuff, and Star Wars isn't really my thing. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. The whole world's going to see it. You got to watch it. And maybe this movie might turn them around, but they won't even get the opportunity to see it because people that aren't going to see Star Wars don't see Star Wars. But people that buy the tickets early because they've been wearing it for 3 days straight.
No, my wife just can't sit through any more sci-fi. She's done with it. However, she couldn't get up to go to the bathroom in this movie because she didn't want to.
She urinated in her
miss a
seat.
second.
Because Jaime wouldn't let her. Get up.
Guys, I think
It's a trap.
What?
It's a trap.
No. It has a huge appeal with everybody who's not necessarily a geek or a sci-fi fan. It's going to convert a lot of people. I was surprised about that.
And also remember, a lot of kids, this is going to be their first Star Wars movie. This is going to be their first, and the reason why it's so important that it calls out to us as people who are fans of the old movies is because so many people kind of fell out after the prequels. They were just like, Star Wars is garbage now. So by bringing those people back and bringing their kids in, it's like a whole new generation of human beings that are going to get into this.
There was a little girl in my theater, like right after Han Solo was killed, and they're out battling on the surface, just yelling, "They're all going to die now!"
She sounds delightful.
She was having a good time.
I think that
this movie almost
gets
seemed
right.
to have the new sequels seem to almost have like a responsibility in a way because all the people that are fans of Star Wars already and love Star Wars already and want to go back to that universe, I think the whole beginning, the beginning third of it, shall we say, introduced you back into that universe in a grand way. The landscapes, the sweeping landscapes, everything. But people that are new to it, that's a fascinating thing to see, I would think, for the first time, for first viewing. So it's good in both directions, really.
Jeff, it sounds like you've had something to say for like 20 minutes now, and everyone's been stepping on you.
I don't mean to be interrupting anybody. I think what this movie understands that the prequels did not is that Star Wars is about friendship. And the reason Star Wars is enduring and the reason people like me can watch it over and over and over again is because it's a story about people that you like being with, that like being with each other, and are constantly think, oh, well, maybe their friendship isn't no, they came and saved each other. They're friends. And I think this movie understands that wanting to be around these characters is the most important thing you can provide. And these are, I think, exquisitely cast. This is an exquisitely cast film. I think that Daisy Ridley is the find of the century. I think she is a mega star. She has a movie star's charisma, and John Boyega similarly so. And we just want to be around these people. At least I do. I could watch this movie on a loop because I enjoy the characters. I enjoy being with them. There is nothing in this movie, in my opinion, that is remotely as cool, just like technically cool, as the Darth Maul fight in Episode 1. But that doesn't matter because I'm invested in what's happening 100 times more because I care about the people. And that's what Star Wars is, and that's what this movie gets so right.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that I noticed, even though I was confused about the destruction of the Hansian system, and I had to actually go online and like dig up some of the recent expanded universe to even explain what was going on there, because apparently the Republic Senate moves their capital from year to year, and so they were blowing up the current capital and the fleet, and that went by way too fast for me. The destruction of the Starkiller base, I feel like lacked the kind of tension that you get in Episode 4, where it's like, oh, I guess it's blowing up now. Okay,
definitely.
The part where R2 just decides to wake up and go, oh, I had all the plans the whole time, except for that one little piece. I didn't care about any of that because of what Jeff's talking about. I enjoyed being around those characters, and I was willing to forgive those flaws because I got to hang out with them.
Well,
didn't you find that they were immediately likable? Because for me, I mean, it didn't take long at all. You're going to be a little bit apprehensive because they're trying to live up to your old heroes from the old movies. But I found right away they were all so likable right away.
Yeah,
not the villains, of course.
Not to, and I don't mean this in any negative way, but there was definitely someone hit the brakes the moment the 70-year-old plus man showed up. You know, it's like things were really moving fast, and I was really excited about all the new characters.
I thought it was wonderful seeing that Harrison Ford could be as charming as he once was again. Like that's the Harrison Ford that I love on screen. He was back, and then that's what makes his death so much worse is because they steal him away again. It's like, oh, finally we get to see the Harrison Ford that is super charming and fun and has that smirk that I want to be around. And
that's another thing that they gave us. That is another thing that they gave us as opposed to just retreading things. Like they gave us a really great Han Solo goodbye movie. You know what I mean? Like, this movie was about, like, okay, we're going to see Han Solo at his most fucking Han Solo in about a million ways that are awesome. And then, boom.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much, and I think we were touching on this before. I think this might be easily the most joyful Star Wars movie that we've seen yet, right? I mean, there was so much happiness in here.
I have a couple of theories for the stuff that Tom brought up.
Oh, please, yeah, go for it, Jeff.
Because I, as much as I love this movie, and I think it's even growing in my estimation, as I said, I do have some problems with it, and a lot of the problems are things that O'Docta brought up. I do have a problem with the fact that anybody can pick up a lightsaber and knows how to use it. I do have a problem with the fact that these guys didn't learn anything from 2 Death Stars. Like, we're going to make the problem with the Death Star wasn't how big it was, right? It was the fact that there's a port on the side that makes it blow up. Like, fix that problem rather than making it 12 times bigger. But and I also had a problem with the fact that why would Luke leave a map to himself, and why would R2 just be a dick and not wake up? Well, so I have theories about those two. I have theories about those two.
Keep in mind, you get a lot of simplification. Like it could be someone collected all of his flight logs from.
No, I have a theory.
Okay.
My theory is that it's not, that map that we're seeing isn't a map to Luke. It's a map to the Jedi First Temple, and it's the same map that Luke found. Like Luke was putting together that map, and he found that map to the First Temple, and that's where he is now. They know he is there, but like an archaeologist, he was searching for it himself, and he was putting together those clues.
Yes.
My other theory is that R2 wasn't just sort of waiting around to turn on and just kind of withholding information from people. I think that because C-3PO says something along the lines of, "Oh, well, you found it? You found it?"
Yeah, so he was crunching. He went into sleep state to crunch numbers. I thought,
right,
to find that same map.
That's That's my theory too. So other people are saying, well, he was waiting
Crunch numbers
for
to find a map.
No, well, he was like trying to do the same thing that Luke did, where he was like, "Okay, I got to find the Jedi temple."
I mean,
so it was a torrent.
We could assume that Luke found it by using the Force or by using old things, like whatever Luke had to do to find it, he found it. And so R2 is like, "Well, where did Luke go?"
Yeah,
I got to find it using math because I'm not a Jedi, I'm a droid.
Picture you have a number of vectors. It's like it's got to be a planet that does X, Y, Z, and then the only thing to do is to do a brute force attack, and you just sit there.
Well, then why do you need BB-8's
R2 was
piece?
doing SETI at home for finding Jedi.
Exactly,
Exactly.
Well, then why do you need BB-8's piece at all then?
Well, because it shortens the well. First of all, BB-8's piece was in an uncharted part of the galaxy, which they made clear. That was one of the plot elements.
Luke took that piece out of the map and gave it to that guy for safekeeping.
Well, whoever Max von Sydow is, I think is a big piece of this puzzle. Like that, there's a lot of mystery around who he is. He's referenced in the opening crawl as an old ally. And I think that the mystery of, like, why does this guy have this piece of the map? I think he is some sort of scholar about Jedi issues and they're trying to piece together where the first temple is.
Yeah. This is outside of the movie, but I can tell you that when we were interviewing Max von Sydow, he was like, my character is going to surprise a lot of people. And I don't think he meant in this movie.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, because he most certainly... I remember seeing him on the cast list, like, holy cow, Max von Sydow! And then I'm like, well, that was a great 3 minutes.
Well, yeah, old ally. I was like waiting for the reveal, and I'm like, okay. Is he supposed to be like an old Kanan from Star Wars Rebels or something?
I don't know. His name in the credits is like Lin something something.
Larkin Sabo, or
Yeah, something like that.
I want to reiterate, because I know people want to listen later. I love the characters too. I did fall in love with them, and the way they were portrayed and the way they played out was awesome. But like I said, like,
no, you're sun going down guy. Sun going down guy. Sun going up guy.
I'm just saying, like when you're sitting there poking holes and stuff, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like you were talking about Han Solo. I'm like, Han Solo's like the Fonz. He doesn't really say too much, but when he does, like it's just so cool. Like when he's trying to fix the Falcon, and she's like, oh, blah blah blah, I just did this, and he's like, huh, and you're like, yeah, like there's nothing else to say, brother. She taking care of business, like. He was the way he's supposed to be, and that made you feel really good. The only thing that bothered me the most about him is that he has got to be the worst scoundrel in the universe and galaxy. So you are going to take these people that are being hunted to a bar with random rogue people and not think that they're not going to call the bad guys and rat you out for some Republican coins or something. Like, you're just going to roll up into this bar. We're going to have our do, and nobody's going to call you out. Like, what are you doing, Han? You know better, Han.
Well, I think it was kind of like, well, there's nowhere to take these people. If I'm going to take anywhere, if I'm going to take anybody, if I'm going to take them anywhere, this is the only place where I can take them, is sort of the vibe that he gave off.
Yeah, I was talking from common sense land, where you just say, hey, wait in the Falcon, I'm going to go inside, get this chick, bring her outside, and then we're going to take you directly to some ship and get you somewhere. I'm not just going to take you to a regular populated bar. I'm just being normal at the moment, not movie world. I know how movies work. I'm just saying, when Han's like, let's roll, I'm like, you know what's going to happen, Han Solo.
I think it could have been much cooler.
Your thoughts are the same that Mass had. Mass is like, what are you doing here? Go to Leia. Take these people to Leia. So you know, they kind of hang a lantern on that.
Yeah. All right, hold on real quick.
We needed to see that place, right? It wouldn't have been a good movie without that.
No, you have to do it. It's, like I said, that's movie stuff. I was just talking, since we're talking outside the realm and stuff, I was just saying, like, come on, Han, because Han is the coolest. And I'm like, man, you're a criminal. You should know better as a criminal.
But there are probably a few things going on in Han's mind right there, which, number one, we're told the character reason, which is like, he's afraid to go and face Leia. Like, because he is a scoundrel, because he is still that guy at his core. Number two, he's not going to leave those two kids in the Millennium Falcon because they tried to run off with the Millennium Falcon before. And we know that if there's one thing that Han loves after Leia and Chewie, it's his fucking shit.
Yeah.
Chewie's
like, is he really? Like, is he really going to leave those kids? Like, is he really going to leave those kids with the ship? And injured Chewie's in the ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Awesome is that moment where you know, Rey says, oh no, not that ship is trashing. You don't see it.
Yeah.
That ship is garbage. Yeah.
Let's take the garbage ship. Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of funny stuff. Like I said, something just makes you care about them and like them.
Hey, by the way, one of my favorite set pieces, and I enjoyed it so much more the second time that I was watching it, is the face-off between Finn and the Stormtrooper, where I don't know why that Stormtrooper has some kind of weird chainsaw attachment and knows how to fight against a lightsaber, but I was like, yeah, no, sure, I buy it, and I only bought it even more the second time I watched it, knowing that Finn wasn't the actual guy or Jedi character. I loved it. I thought that was a great moment there.
Yeah,
it shows you.
Light hammer. It looked like, I don't know what that was. I need to find out what the name of that thing is.
Did you guys know who Daniel Craig was in the movie?
Did
you find that out?
Stormtrooper that gets mind force thing, whatever that's called.
Those restraints.
Yeah.
Was that actually his voice as well? I'm sure that was.
I assume so. I don't know about that.
So great.
Drop the gun,
I think there's
guy.
a bit of a missed opportunity with from a design perspective. I was a little bit bummed that the First Order is just the Empire's like old stuff. We get slightly modified stormtroopers and some cool chrome looking stormtrooper for one character, but I thought it would be we basically just got X-Wings with a new paint job and TIE Fighters with a new paint job, and I think it would have been cooler if we had gotten some interesting new, like, what is the story of the First Order? The design of the things could have told me a story that would have been interesting of how they cobbled together or how they rose from the ashes of the crumbled empire.
I think you're 100% right, Jeff. I also think all of that lives in the legends. It lives in the books. I think that I don't think the movie would have been 1 ounce better for having another answer, because that's the one thing we learned with the prequels versus the original, is that the questions are always better than the answer. The mere fact that we're having this discussion tells me that it's good they didn't tell us all these things.
Well, I guess the idea of not telling you something, but showing it through design. So it's not overtly answering something, but the ships have taken on a different shape or something. I don't know what that would be necessarily to make that point.
The First Order might be a cargo cult. I don't think they're necessarily straight Imperials. I think they differentiate themselves from the Empire, but they venerate them.
I love that.
They could have went to a hangar bay and just got the leftover ships, and that's all they could afford. And then also, let's throw in something else we ain't talked about. How y'all ain't talking about it, baby? Luke had a baby, because in the books, Ben has a twin sister. But in this, it seems like, the lightsaber's calling out to the father, to the son, to the father. And I'm like, wait, that's the dad? Because that's supposed to be the sister. So Luke had a baby. Who's his wife? Who he been with?
Do we know that Rey is Luke's daughter?
Yeah, I don't know. But the way they set it up.
But yeah, it feels like they're heading in that direction.
The way they set it up.
Or
it
could
Luke's
be
theme when she picked up the lightsaber. That was the key to me.
Yeah, because first of all, what about Leia and her non-using Force self, okay? If you got the Force and you just as powerful because you a twin, how do you not feel that that's your baby girl? How do you not feel that came from you? It's not like she died giving birth and she still got the Force in her.
No. I don't think it has. Yeah. I don't think it's like it was in those expanded universe books.
No,
I think it's definitely instead of like Jason Solo and then his sister, whose name I forget. I think it's gonna be a Solo against a Skywalker.
Yeah, right. And it seemed like, well, again, they said she's like, I remember when I was a baby, a planet full of water. Again, my father's lightsaber, it calls out to family, like that. And if she's waiting for somebody to come back and get her, but he's not going to come. Like, that's her dad. Luke's her dad.
Remember that, but also remember that, Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan and Luke are only related in the fact that Obi-Wan knew Luke's father. So it's entirely possible that Rey is not Luke's daughter.
To be honest, I think it's better that way. I think that Rey as let's loosen things up. Let's not make it a small universe after all.
This is Jaina Solo, by the way.
I see.
She's not in the. She's not in the movie. She is not Rey. I think I agree with you, Brian, that it would be cool to open it up and have it not be a Skywalker, because that makes it a wider world and not every Jedi has to be from the Skywalker family. But at the same time, this is the story of the Skywalker family, so I kind of want her to be Luke's daughter.
Well, and the question is, how did she get to Jakku in the first place? Did she Was she there with her family and then her family left?
Again,
Put her
questions
there for
are
safekeeping,
better
maybe?
than answers. I love the fact that we're finally getting questions again. Jeff had a comment. Go ahead, Jeff.
I find it interesting that Princess Leia had not met Rey at any point in that movie, and yet at the end, when everybody is going and celebrating, Rey comes off the spaceship all alone. Princess Leia walks up to her and gives her a hug. That's what you do if you're an aunt.
Yeah. It's also what you do if you know that this kid just fucking saved your ass in the ass of the entire resistance.
How does she know that?
It's also what you
How does
might
she know
do.
that?
Well, she's force sensitive, right?
She's way more than force sensitive. I mean, Rey is super kick ass.
Oh no! We're talking about Leia. Like how does Leia know?
It's force sensitive. Yeah.
No,
Leia's
I'm just saying,
Rey is super
Han as
powerful,
well.
and just in the way she fends off Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is the guy who can stop a blaster shot. So
Yeah, but only when he's not being a little fucking baby.
Well, see, no, somebody said that to me too. They're like, how did he get shot by that blaster? I'm like, okay, so put it this way. He's an irrational person, first of all. Second of all, he had just killed his father. He was having that moment, and then the Wookiee comes over and is like, boom, and he eats it. Now, everybody else that took that blast in this whole movie has done backflips, shot through walls, everything.
Yeah.
He eats it like a champ. Then, not only does he get outside, he gets ahead of him in the snow and then wows out. And now, again, he's already been shot. When Finn takes it to him for a minute, I'm like, I know you're hurt, bro, but how do you even get to cut him? How do you get to touch him?
I mean, again, because
how do you touch him?
Kylo Ren is a child. He's a petulant teenager, and they play.
He doesn't
him as
have
such.
that ability. He doesn't have that ability to calm down and control it. Like he has these moments of great control, but then he also has these moments where he's going to trash a console like it's a hotel room. One of the things that I really love, though, about him is the thing where he does get shot by the blaster, the bowcaster, and he is punching his wound. And the other thing that I noticed is like his helmet is so heavy. Do you notice how many times they let us know how heavy his fucking helmet is?
Yeah.
Where he's
I love the
he
fact that
clearly has to be in pain. He clearly has to be distracted from who he is at all times because he's not a bad guy. He doesn't have a lot of control over the Force unless he's just in this constant state of hurt, which I thought was just an amazing character. And it's also kind of a cool mirror of Vader in a way where Vader is just this guy who is also constantly in pain and used to it, you know?
Right.
The fact that
There's also
he's a wannabe
very strong
Vader.
connection. Oh, sorry.
Wannabe Vader. His mask is an affectation. He has no reason to actually. He just wants to be so badly that he puts on airs. I think that speaks volumes about who he is.
Absolutely, and
Awesome idea for a character.
I'm certain it's a conscious decision that they, the moment they had him remove his mask, they weakened the character, and that's how we should feel about him. He is a weak person who's worshiping the badass legend of his grandfather, and even a weak, selfish teenager can have moments where he gets on stage at the Battle of the Bands and is a total badass, like he was when he slaughtered the village and stopped the bolt, energy bolt midway. But largely, he's selfish and trite and ultimately manipulable, which we watch.
And driven by
I love the idea
rebellion.
that they're both child soldiers, right? Like they're both these conscripted child soldiers who have just been lied to their whole lives, and only one of them actually is smart enough and strong enough to break free of that, but is the one that is like cowardly and avoiding violence, while the other one is like trying to just be violent all the time to show that he is the best child soldier he can be. Like the brainwashing element of that and that kind of whole subtext was awesome to me.
Do you
How
think
much of a
the
comparison
next
did you
two
find between him
episodes
and,
will be
and
the
the
telling of
teen Anakin?
the redemption of Kylo Ren?
Yes.
Kylo Ren.
If you
is
didn't hear it,
destined to
Tom's
die.
question was, do you think the next two episodes are about the redemption of Kylo Ren?
Yes.
I could see it.
I think that they sowed some seeds there with Rey and how vindictive she got at the end of that fight. We also don't know what kind of a state Luke is in. We also don't know if they're going to continue mirroring and maybe Rey takes off early the same way Luke did, but with horrible consequences. And we could see an episode 9 where Ben Solo is a Jedi who is fighting off whatever Rey's Sith name is, apprentice name, as a Knight of Ren. Like, we could totally see that. We probably won't, but we could.
I wish I saw that. That sounds like something I'd like to see.
You got to set it up first, man.
You see, that's how suckers get bought into dreams. You keep telling me I'm getting potato chips, and every time I open it, all I'm getting is pickles.
But I'm also saying I don't think that's the way it's going. But
I know, but it sounds good. Yeah, it sounds good.
Am I the only one who noticed a very strong connection to the games, to the Old Republic games and stuff? The whole mask thing, and it also seems to be a very strong religious object.
You're talking about the Sith characters of Revan and Malak, the original Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah,
right. No, the masks, and also there seems to be. I think the mask itself, Kylo Ren's mask, is some sort of shamanic power of some sort. It sits on this thing of ashes. Is probably has all kinds of dark stuff.
Did you guys notice that? Did you guys notice that Kylo is Skywalker and Solo put together?
I did not.
No. Interesting. No. I did try to make an anagram out of Lars Santeca, the old guy at the beginning, and all I could get was LNT karaoke's.
For some reason, it as an anagram just spells out rent needful things, which is great. That's so weird.
All right, guys, let's wrap things up. Man, I got to tell you, I loved the fact that Joy is back in the universe. I love the fact that for the first time in 30 years, we have new questions, and they're really interesting questions. I mean, I definitely am going to go see it a third, fourth, fifth time.
Brian, you win, by the way. We never answered the question that Tom asked earlier, but you win. Like, it's sold out in my area until Wednesday, bro. Like, you won. It's over.
I certainly hope so.
You're getting that money.
I certainly
hope
so.
You can be humble all you want to, but you got that.
Disney's going to get that $4 billion in like a year and a half. It's going to be like nothing.
It doesn't matter to me. It's all that matters is February 12th. The game. I got to win the draft.
You got it. You want it.
Let's go around the horn. Owen, you give a more tepid, measured review.
I definitely say go see it. You will enjoy it. It is a good movie. If you like 4, 5, and 6, it's a mashup, and it makes me happy to have seen it.
Jaime, what about you?
Oh no, 100% thumbs up. It is what it is. It is a popcorn movie, and I will love to see it again and again.
Kristi?
Oh, I think a little more depth is in order there. I agree with you guys when you were talking about the characters. They're characters that we already like. We want to see more of these characters. The setting's gorgeous. It evokes the old days of Star Wars. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I'm probably going to go again as well.
You made me think of something with the characters. There was a brief moment when John Boyega says, "Droid, please," and I was like, "Did he just use droid like some people use the N-word? Is that what just happened?"
Or like Butler, maybe. Or like Butler.
Jeff, what's your short review?
Well, I love the idea that we're doing a short review after spoiling everything. So this is, I don't know. Of course, I love it. It is Star Wars is back. I didn't think it was possible for me to be more excited about Episode 8 than I was just knowing that Rian Johnson was working on it. But that end of that movie, not since Fellowship of the Ring have I been more amped to see a sequel. I will be counting the days until Episode 8. What an ending.
524.
Yeah, I know. I know. Peter Serretta tweeted it today too. That movie, in those hands, like I trust Rian Johnson so implicitly. I just think it's going to knock our socks off.
Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. I think it is everything that people could have wanted, and I think it's a beautiful setup for 8 and 9.
Yeah. Tom?
Hey, man, this is the 7th movie in a series. You never see that very often, and you certainly don't see it at quality. It's its 4th director. I had a smile on my face the whole time. It is not a great movie in and of itself. but it's not meant to be. It is definitely what I wanted to see, and it definitely, I'm with you, Jeff. I'm counting the days for that cliffhanger ending. Like, they didn't even let him speak.
Hey,
I can't
Tom.
wait till episode 8.
Tom, as far as seventh movies in a franchise that are actually good, we got 2 this year.
That's true.
And we got 2 in the last 2 months.
Yeah. Although Rocky has had fewer directors, I think.
Oh, is that true? Wow.
Yo,
Yeah.
Creed made me cry like a little girl. I was so in. Creed had me feel like, oh my God, I love Rocky so much, Mr. Balboa. Oh my goodness, it took my heart away. Love that
Brian
movie.
Brushwood, what about you? What did you think?
I'll tell you what, man. I always give this disclaimer. I saw it in 11-year-old daughter vision, and there ain't nothing like holding the hand of your 11-year-old daughter, and she keeps, tapping you on the shoulder to lean in and whisper, "This is really good," and give you a kiss on the cheek. It was maybe my most precious movie watching experience of the entire year this morning.
That is it for Spoiler in Time for 2015, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging with us. We will spoil you again next year.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.